Welcome to Boxing Scene's Top Stories, only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George D. Metellus. Just a reminder, long-form content still available on YouTube and on the ProBox TV app. And you can listen to Top Stories audio form where podcasts are available. And we got the champions in the house. Always good to talk to Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi here on Top Stories. Well, the best live fight series in all of boxing continues with a massive main event featuring two former world champions, JEISON Rosario taking on JARRET HURD here on ProBox TV. HURD has lost 3 of his last 4 fights, and Rosario has embraced Bob Santos in his corner after being knocked out by Brian Mendoza in his last fight. All right, Paulie, both are former unified champions at 154. Desperate spot maybe for both fighters. How does that dynamic affect the state of this fight?
You know, when you're on the tail end of your career, it's always desperate, even if you've accomplished a whole lot, because you're trying to keep it going as much as you can. These guys are sort of on the comeback trail. They've been to the top of the mountain. So there's curiosity when you've been to the top of the mountain, because you're going to say, okay, we've seen these guys be great. Can they still be great? Matching them up against one another goes with the pro box mentality, the pro box moniker. Okay, we'll give you a chance. Some people may think you're done. Some people may not want to give you a chance because they think your best days are behind you. We'll give you a chance, but you got to fight each other. And this is exactly a fight that goes right along with the pro box moniker. Only this is between two guys who have been at the mountaintop. This is not between two guys who maybe have been on the cusp of contendership but haven't got their break. These guys have got their break. They've been successful. They've been at world-class level. They've shown they had the goods. The question is, do they still have the goods? They need somebody to give them the opportunity to show they have the goods. Enter ProBox TV, but you got to fight each other. Love this matchup.
Yeah, champ, this is exactly what ProBox TV has been all about, except we're just stepping up the level. So we've had former world champions on our air before. We got Angelo Leo before. We had Sergey Lipinets, fight on our card before. Now we got 2 guys who are in the same weight class who actually held the same titles fighting each other. I mean, they're a weight class up, sure, but again, they were in the same weight class. It wasn't that long ago. And it's also a make-or-break situation for both men, which is how ProBox TV always is. We give these guys a platform for them to go on to bigger and better things, but you got to fight tough fights. This is a tough fight. This is a great matchup. Really looking forward to this fight. I mean, in terms of how they match up, the entrance of Bob Santos is very interesting to me. I think he's an excellent, excellent coach. He's had a bunch of fighters on our air before. He's been doing really, really good things with the guys that he has been working with. That adds an extra caveat, an extra layer to this fight. Rosario isn't quite as durable as JARRET HURD is. Both guys have a bunch of losses in the last couple of fights, but Rosario's been stopped in all of his losses. HURD, much more durable guy, big guy for the weight class, only got stopped once, and I believe he was on a cut. So he's definitely going to be the more durable guy. But Rosario is a very dynamic puncher, great offense. When he gets going, he's on his rhythm, and he's a very dangerous guy. Add in Bob Santos to that mix, we got a potential win here coming from Rosario, but we got to see. I like this matchup. Looks more and more like a 50-50 fight the more information that comes out, and it's fight week, so let's go.
Yeah, and you know what? I got something else too. Champ, you always like to say boxing math doesn't work. Well, here's some boxing math. HURD lost the title to Julian Williams. Julian Williams, in his first defense, loses the title to JEISON Rosario. Boxing math doesn't work. Boxing math doesn't always math up, though. So that's why we got this fight, and that's why we're excited about it.
So, Paulie, with these 2 fighters at 160 middleweight, we know middleweight is maybe a little thin compared to some of the other weight classes. Does the winner propel them to a title shot here?
I think it's very, very possible, especially if it's somebody like HURD. He's got the rivalry already with Lara. They had one of the better fights when they fought each other. I don't know if that was a fight of the year or if it definitely was a fight of the year contender. Top fight. Now that Lara is a world champion, granted, we don't want to overlook Danny Garcia, who's going to challenge Lara for that title. But if Lara is able to come through that fight and HURD is able to come through Rosario, you may be looking at a rematch of what was the first time a very excellent fight. Now, don't get me wrong, it's years past their prime. And, of course, it would be more like Leonard Duran 3, more so than the anticipation that was Leonard Duran 2, right? But nonetheless, still, it's 2 guys that have been in the ring with each other and made a terrific, terrific fight when they did fight each other. So, yeah, you put yourself in the mix. Rosario, the same thing. The ex-world champions, you come back, you beat another ex-world champion on the comeback trail. Now you put yourself in the mix right away, especially that at middleweight, there are some spaces there to fit really well. There aren't the hugest names. There are some pretty solid fighters, though. I'll admit they're just not superstar power. So think about like this. I mean, we talked about the possibility for her to fight Lara. What about JEISON Rosario? And if he wins, he takes on Carlos Adames, a world championship fight between 2 Dominicans. That could be something else too. So there's a move for both guys in the title picture.
Yeah, Chris, what do you make of the winner possibly getting a title fight at 160 at middleweight?
I'm going to say it right here. Not possible. Whoever wins this fight is getting a world title fight at 160. 160, you mentioned, is kind of thin. Well, it's very thin, actually. There are good fighters in there, but it's very, very thin in terms of the other contenders that are out there. And these guys are both big-name guys, both former unified champions. You mentioned Champ HURD has the win over Lara. Lara's fighting Danny Garcia. No reason that he couldn't get the winner of that fight if he is to win this fight. And if Rosario wins, yeah, I love the Dominican versus Dominican matchup that you mentioned, Champ. You put on that matchmaker cap again. I love when you do that. But also, I can see Rosario getting his shot against Lara if Lara's to win, or Danny Garcia. I mean, it just makes too much sense for the winner of this fight on this platform to step right into a world title fight at 160 against any of those names up there.
Well, like a great fighter once said, it's not a wasteland, it's open pastures. So there you go. That certainly is going to be exciting to see what happens. The main event on ProBox TV, Wednesday Night Fights, continues to deliver great matchups. Well, we'd like to remind you that you want to continue the great content, scan the QR code, and as I've been mentioned before, the best live fight series in all of boxing, Wednesday Night Fights, 2 former world champions, the main event in a day's time here on ProBox TV. I'm George DeMatteis. This is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, August 21st. Former Unified World Champion Swift JARRET HURD takes on former Unified World Champion JEISON Banana Rosario. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at proboxtv.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.